Okay, maybe we should ask
The answer is
Mr.
no.
Tony Uranta. We should ask him because we've convened a conference where a lot of people came to express their thoughts about the issue of our current constitution and whether there is a need for a sovereign national conference that would help us decide whether, like Senator said, we need to unbundle our nation to enable us have a true federalism. What's your thought?
First of all, I feel like applauding distinguished Senator Magnus Abbey.
Yeah.
He has made a better case for the National Summit Group, the National Dialogue Group, headed by Alhaji Tanko Yakasai, than even he has done or I have done. It is clear that in the First Republic, because we're running a truly federal system, the Western region, led by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, decided that he wanted a television station. He went ahead and did it because he had control of his resources. And he only had to pay a tax to the center. He wanted Cocoa House built, Unity Building, Western House. He wanted industrialization in Ikeja, and he went about it. And you see what happened? Okpara immediately started looking into how to industrialize the East. And Samadu Bello started industrializing the North. There was a healthy rivalry because of the need to create development based on your resources and your needs. But the moment the military came in and brought in a unitary system, we forgot about that process. And we have now become, all of us, even those of us in the oil producing regions, we have become rent collectors mainly. We have lost sight of the many resources, natural and especially human, in Nigeria that we should be developing. For example, we all are shouting about India now developing very fast. India is not developing so much on natural resources as much as on human resources. So we have 160 million Nigerians who are not as educated as they should be, who do not have access to health as they should, who do not have access to water as they should. But then, like the senator rightly said, not only do the different federating units have different priorities on their minds, they have access to different levels of resources. The truth is that I cannot say because America is going to Mars, it must therefore send me to Mars. It does not really owe me an obligation.
What do you think we should be doing right now?
The first thing, dialogue. All of us have got to sit down. I know that the senator, as part of the team reforming the Constitution, may not see a need for external dialogue, but I see a need for external dialogue, not necessarily with the word sovereign at the beginning, but as I said, it will all depend at the end of the day on the 160 million Nigerians. Whatever we do come up with, we should subject to a referendum of Nigerians, because the Governors Forum, led by our governor, Governor Amechi, which includes the northern governors, sat down and said they propose a state police system. I am surprised, therefore, that a group of governors that belong to the Governors Forum are now disagreeing with what the generality of the governors agreed upon. So we, the people of Nigeria, have to talk. We have to say what we want.
Let's come back to Senator. Is there something wrong with the concept or the name sovereign?
No, first of all, I wanted to talk to Tony. You know, first we have to actually appreciate certain things. I'm not angry with anybody who takes a different position from what I take in this debate. we have to understand that everybody is actually looking for their own idea of what will make the country better. So when people say things that we don't agree with, we just shouldn't. We should accept that this is what they think, without necessarily agreeing to it. Now, so I don't knock Tony for his proposing a sovereign conference.
No, a sovereign conference.
A conference or whatever. But what I have to say is this: you have 160 million people in this country. There is no conference you are going to hold where 160 million people are going to talk.
It will be representative.
Good. That you have a National Assembly.
But then
I'm coming.
Yes,
I'm coming. Whatever objection you have to the National Assembly, people are going to have it to any other assembly that you convene. That is one. Secondly, you're talking about subjecting whatever comes out to a referendum. The Constitution doesn't provide for that.
Maybe it should be changed.
Good. Even if you want to change the Constitution, to change that in the Constitution, you have to go through the process that is provided for in the Constitution to bring a provision that says, okay, changing this Constitution will now be subjected to a national referendum. Let me say what let me just
we're looking at now, the review of the Constitution.
Good. That's what I'm saying.
One of the proposals that will go forward.
Good. But what I'm saying is that in making that proposal, as in making any other proposal, there is already an existing framework for how that proposal will become part of the Constitution and therefore enforceable. So, having said that, let me also say something here. If you want to knock down this wall, for example, there are different ways. You could get a bulldozer and do it in 1 hour. But if you don't have a bulldozer and you have a hammer, and you're really determined to do something about the wall, you don't have to sit on your, what did you call that thing, your fat, whatever?
Yeah.
You can get up with the hammer and start trying to do something. We already have a constitution. We have a procedure that exists in this country for amending this constitution and for dealing with issues that involve the fundamental way of how we live together as Nigerians. We have an option. You can either take advantage of that and pursue whatever it is that you want to pursue out of the how many 100 people that will be involved in this constitutional amendment process. I'm sure that there is no viewpoint that you will not find among those people. Whatever your viewpoint is, including even those who won the sovereign conference, you can find it within the National Assembly, within the state houses of assembly, within the presidency.
Okay, let me
so there's an
take you up
opportunity
on
for all
something,
Nigerians to
Senator.
contribute to this process. Let's stop wasting our time, dealing with things that are purely wishful thinking.
Okay,
there's no
Senator.
legal process of amending this constitution except either you use force or you follow what is laid down in the law.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Good.
Let's
stop wasting time with things that are not relevant.
Let's try to review. You are part of the review. Try to bring in, partner more with the people in this process. And I think that is all we're asking. You will put in a clause. I can depend on you to do that.
Just before we move on, let me ask you, Senator, do you think, sincerely, that what we need is what some people have tagged as a mere review by the senators, or looking at fundamental change and complete overhauling and possibly rewriting our constitution? In 1 or 2 sentences, we don't have to go into details. Just your thought on this.
It's difficult for me not to go into details because what you have said, I'm trying to be very, very tactful in responding to this. But the Senate President, from the time we started this issue of considering this constitutional review, had laid down what he said, that it would be an open process. We can discuss anything. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that this review is not being conducted by just the Senate. The House of Representatives is also a full partner in this process. The houses of assembly are full partners in this process. It is only what will be acceptable to the broad majority and consensus of the Nigerian leadership that will find its way into the constitution. That's why when my brother is talking about us engaging the people, this is a process that by its very nature is just so engaging because everybody has a stake and everybody has a role. So it is a very engaging process.
But does
And-
everybody have a say?
Yes, you have a
Everybody.
say.
Okay.
Everybody
Okay,
has a
let's